Well, hey, good morning, my friends. This is MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torgros. I see now that I forgot to change my headline. There's so many things to do, so many things to remember. We do have the potential for severe thunderstorms today, so let's get to it. I have a lot lined up here for you, so I'm just going to warn you from the outset. This is going to be a pretty hardcore weather update. So here we go. Hopefully you're ready. And you can hold on. Let's say hi to a few folks first. Joel Stockwell, good morning. Shirley Croy from Eaton Rapids, good morning. And Amy Dykstra from Alto, I don't know. Patricia Anderson, lovely Petoskey area. All right, so overnight, um, solid heavy rains in the northern part of the state, and the thunderstorms just starting to get into the southeast. Hey, here's kind of the overall story of today. A couple of lines of thunderstorms. The line of storms in the early to mid afternoon probably has the highest chance of producing severe weather, probably through the center part of the state from Mount Pleasant to Grand Rapids over to Saginaw, the Thumb, the Flint area. And then the second line is a little bit later in the evening, could be severe, but probably not as big of a likelihood, and that would be more to the southeast. So that's where we're going with this. And you can see on the Storm Prediction Center's severe weather forecast, they kind of indicate that from, let's say about, Pentwater to Tawas, south and east, all the way through Detroit and Ann Arbor. The tornado chances, northeast through Saginaw Valley and Thumb back to Lansing and Grand Rapids. The damaging winds in a line of thunderstorms, 15% chance and a 5% chance of some large hail. All right, so here's kind of the overall look of the radar right now. And you can see that there is a lot going on. The storms that hit northwest lower Michigan this morning with heavy rainfall, over 2 inches around the Traverse City area. Now moving to the northeast corner, not severe, but potent. Showers with thunderstorms building back through the Grand Rapids area and shifting southeast, not severe. And then the only severe storm on here is a large complex coming out of Wisconsin, coming across Door County, and that's heading toward Benzie County and Manistee County, Leelanau County, maybe the Traverse City area in an hour or two. So a lot still to develop, and I just kind of want to look at the radar a little bit better with you on this, the radar scope, and there you can see the thunderstorms developing north of the Grand Rapids area, and those should start to head towards Saginaw and Frankenmuth and Alma and into the Thumb in the next couple of hours. And this would probably not be the main line of thunderstorms either. We are, at the hottest time of the year, so we can have several lines of thunderstorms and the atmosphere recharge with instability before the next line comes through. Normally, other parts of the year, it's one and done if you get some big storms. Let's see. My audio is whack. Audio fixed-ish. Okay. All right. Um, so sounds like it'll sound pretty good. Okay, so here's the current radar. So let's get into the radar forecast. Here's the modeling, and it will show you that we do have a lot of questions as to the way things evolve today. And again, you're going to have to bear with us and just have a fun day following the weather with me because, again, what happens is the subsequent storms later in the day form after current storms because the current storms lay out outflow boundaries and that's a focusing mechanism. So, it's not already set where the second round of storms, let's say, later today will develop. But this will give you a good feel, okay? All right. So here we go. See, there's something echoing. Just a second. I think I know what's going on here. Thank you. How about now? We got her set now, it looks like. I had two microphones on, one from yesterday. All right, so here we go. Thank you. All right, so here's the radar forecast. I'll get back to it. 11 noon, 1, 2, 3. So that's a theme. A line of storms is probably going to develop and move across northern and central lower Michigan. You know, from Ludington to Houghton Lake to the Saginaw area. That's 1 to 3 in the afternoon, but it might be the storms that we have now in the Green Bay area are moving out of Green Bay, so it could be a couple of hours earlier than that. And that's round number 1, let's call it, of today. And then round number 2 develops. This is 5, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8, 9, 10, and eventually makes it into the southeast between, say, 7 and 10 o'clock tonight, and then done. So several rounds, and we have to just see how they all play out. Here's the high resolution rapid refresh total rainfall. Now remember, what I advocate on this is don't look at the exact location and the exact amount. Just look at the fact that widespread rain and a lot of 1 to 2 inches, and some of the heavier amounts will be 2 to 3 inches, maybe 4 inches. That's what you see in the red. That's 2 to 3 inches. And the most likely areas, I do believe, central, northeast, lower, the thumb, and the areas where it could run out of gas, maybe the Detroit area, southeast, far southeast into the Monroe area. Ken Forsyth, will Pinconning get hit? Yes, you should get some good rainfall out of this and possibly a severe thunderstorm. Now, this is the U.S. model. This is the GFS model. The other one was also a U.S. model. And the GFS kind of indicating the similar thing. The round of storms that develops in the afternoon and early evening in the thumb, Saginaw, Flint, down to Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo. That would be an area, and that would be a 1 to 4 inch area. Brett Dilliard, anything for Grand Ledge and St. John's? Okay, yes, you should be into the storms definitely in the afternoon hours. Okay, now heat. Again, with the cloudiness, you're going to have to be in the southeast and the south central to really get hot. But what I'm showing you is it will be humid. So here's the heat index. There's actually a heat advisory in effect. So at times this afternoon, Lansing, Kalamazoo, Jackson, Flint, Ann Arbor, Detroit definitely could feel like about 100 to 104 degrees. Ron Vance, what about Grand Rapids? You should get into storms, one here shortly, and then you may be into the severe thunderstorms, but it's looking like it's going to be a little greater chance towards your north and east. Heidi Wiseman, Hart. Yeah, you could get into that line of severe thunderstorms. So what would be the timing for storms in Oakland County, Pamela Todoroff? I would say it would be, you could get a first round in late afternoon, and then more likely sometime in the evening hours. So there's your heat index. Now let's look at the temperatures. And again, I'm intently watching the Jonathan Trombley Delaney Storm wedding. Frankenmuth, St. Lorenz Church, the hottest church on earth to get married in with no air conditioning. And that's Saturday. And if anybody else is getting married Saturday, the temperatures keep inching upward, which makes sense. So here are the high temperature forecasts, and to give you a good idea of what's going on, I think everything's pinning some pretty good trends here. Ooh, Pine Knob, Blair McAllister. Storms in the afternoon and evening. Sorry. I think somebody said maybe Fish was in concert. Joel Stockwell, are we likely to see any watches posted? Yeah, I would say in the southeast half, if the storms kind of hold back and we get into some sunshine. So highs today about 90 Saginaw, 90 to 95, we'll call it in the southeast, 70s in the north. Tomorrow is a little bit quote unquote cooler because of cloudiness, but it'll still be muggy. And then Friday, we jump back into the low to mid 80s, some spots in the upper 80s to near 90. And then Saturday, here it is, 90 to 93, going to be a very common number. A lot of places might be 87, 88. Sunday now looks hot. Again, coming back to 90 to 95, a lot of 91 and 92s. Storm of gross, I like that. No force field around Byron. No. Tornado chance, Manistee County? Pro- Possibly, but not a real big chance. Your only chance would be if the supercell holds together and comes toward Manistee. All right, then watch the trend. After Sunday night's rain, Monday we cool down a touch in the state. We're in the upper 70s to low 80s. Wednesday, 80s. And the European wants to bring the 90s back. The U.S. model also showing Saturday right here as hot in the low 90s and Sunday as hotter in the mid 90s. Shows the front coming through, and then next week 70s on Tuesday, low 80s to mid 80s on Wednesday, Thursday some 70s also. So it wants to show definitely a change. And one last thing for you here, I promise you a whole lot of weather and a lot of folks sticking with me. Thanks for joining me on the MLive Morning Weather Update. Please hit the share button. This is the way we do it, and keep you updated on the weather. And you can log off when you're sick of getting enough weather. But let's look at the extended on the European model. I think everything's showing a pretty good scenario. A very consistent scenario, I guess, is what I'd want to say. Thank you, Ryan Lynch, for sharing. Laura Murphy, yes, Traverse City got a good soaking. So here's our weather system moving through today. And it shows that it may bog down and it could be showery again on Thursday in the southern third or southern half of the state. And when you see the gray, I think it's this model trying to forecast some humidity. Adam Hunt, how's looking for boating this weekend? I would say pretty good. There's Saturday, not much wind, hot temperatures. Here's Sunday. That's a light southwest wind. That's good at Tawas. Hot conditions. And then here's that cold front coming through Sunday night into Monday morning. So we could actually have 2 rains in the next 5 days. And then the European continues dry after that. So I think we have a pretty good scenario of what's going on. Today's storms could produce brief severe gusts, 60 to 70 miles an hour. We do have interactions with outflow boundaries that can start rotation, can form brief tornadoes. We'll keep you updated on that. It's a common sense severe weather situation. That is, if it's starting to look nasty and it's starting to sound noisy, you move to the middle part of your house. And then if a tornado warning goes up, you go to the basement if you have one, or you stay right in the middle part of the house if you are under a tornado warning. No signs of that yet. Yes, Mark Ashworth, the gardens. Mother Nature does it right, doesn't she? You can water all you want, and things stay alive. Things grow okay. Then you get a 2-inch rain overnight with a lot of thunder and lightning, which, by the way, is the greatest fertilizer there is, lightning. The air is 78% nitrogen, not usable by plants. Lightning comes through it. It makes the nitrogen usable, rains it down in the soil. And right now, if you had a big thunderstorm overnight, the plants in your garden are saying, yes, food, nitrogen. So we'll keep you updated on the severe weather. Watch MLive, the website, mlive.com, for posts on severe weather. and I will likely see you back here this evening. Thanks for joining me on the MLive Morning Weather Update. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa.